welcome to Rose Ed. Football is back and Newcastle have finally set the Bruce loose. I'm here with Joe. No, I am Joe Forrester. Oh, for God's sake. Don't worry, I'm leaving it in. And as always, I'm here with Hannah East. You right, Hannah?
Are you right?
Oh, God. This is just, even for us, it's taken 5 minutes and 50 seconds to get the podcast underway.
Oh dear, literally nearly weaved my pants laughing then.
Oh, it's all been very, very silly. Mike's here as well. Hello, mate.
You're right, Pet.
I'm all right, mate. How's everybody's week been? How's your week been, Mike?
Yeah, it's been all right, actually. It's been decent. Apart from watching Arsenal Monday, which seems to ruin my week every week. Other than that, it's been good.
It's nice to have proper football back. No more internationals, isn't it, Hannah?
It is, Joe, yeah.
Oh, for God's sake. It is, yeah.
Yeah, mate, yeah. No, it is. It's good. It's good having it back. Nice routine. And good fixtures coming up as well this weekend.
Right. We spoke to Charlotte Robson from the Newcastle Supporters Trust and True Faith Newcastle fanzine last week. She was slagging off Steve Bruce. Hannah was defending him to the hill. And I do have some sad news for you. Cue violin music. Steve Bruce is gone. He spoke to Luke Edwards.
1,000 matches as well.
They sacked him after 1,000 matches. That is a slap in the face, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
He spoke to Luke Edwards at the Telegraph, who's very across happenings at St James's Park. Steve Bruce said, "It's been very, very tough to never really be wanted, to feel that people wanted to feel, to read people constantly saying I would feel that I was a useless fat waste of space, a tactically inept cabbage head off whatever from day one." Dear one in the Big Brother house.
So that was Steve Bruce.
Can we just confirm that was a real quote?
That was quote. Yeah. Do you know what infuriates me is the fact that it's one thing. It's about football, but why personally attack someone? Like, fair enough if it hasn't worked for the club, and we mentioned earlier, like the takeover wouldn't have happened if they hadn't remained up in the Premier League. So there should really be some thanks for Steve Bruce, and I don't think it's fair to put him and his family through that. It's like torment, isn't it? It's like football.
It's like when you do impressions of someone, you accentuate all of their features. It's awful, isn't it?
I put dry shampoo on a wig when I pretended to be Steve Bruce. So
it's like when you've got a co-host and you say they've got a big forehead and you take the mickey out of the way they say.
Oh my God, you really took that personally, didn't you?
What do you mean? It's fine.
I said a 5 head. I was joking, obviously.
No, but I take your point because it's he's in the public eye and stuff, and it's like you can criticise him for being a football manager, but don't say he looks like a cat. Like a Cabbage Patch Kid is quite cute, but they said he had a head like a cabbage, didn't they? And that's not fair.
Yeah, I just think personal attacks at him, like saying, "Oh, he's a worst manager ever, and he's this, he's that." It's like he wasn't the worst manager ever.
You were very defensive of him, Hannah. Is that just because he played for Manchester United?
Probably,
is that the only reason?
Yeah, and I think sometimes people are just so quick. We've talked about this before to be horrible about managers, but I don't think he's a bad person. And it's from day one, people did not like him, and nobody really ever gave him a chance. So he wasn't able to spend money in the club. We've been through COVID. It's not like he was able to spend any sort of revenue with that. They were wanting to sell the club the whole time he was there. So he never really stood a great chance. And I just feel that he was at a huge disadvantage to start off with. And yes, figures do speak for themselves, but I think it's been very much of a personal attack on Steve Bruce. And I actually feel really sorry for him, finishing his career, potentially retiring after 1,000 matches as manager. I just think it's really sad that he's going to sort of end on a sour note when it shouldn't be that way when someone's achieved what he has.
Do you think he will retire?
Well, there's talks of him retiring now.
He said it might be his last job, which is a little bit sad. And Hannah, I understand what you're saying, but when you look at it from a football perspective, football is about results, and obviously everything about his personal appearance is wrong and awful. I don't know why people do that, but in terms of on the pitch, like Newcastle have been dire, and they've spent a lot of money as well. So it's not like you can say they've got no budget. Like Sean Dyche has done a much better job with Burnley than Steve Bruce has done with like a huge budget in comparison. So I understand why Newcastle fans are frustrated. And it will be interesting to see who they get next.
Yeah, and how the players perform as well, because the shields are off now, so they'll get a new manager at some point very soon, I'm sure, and there'll be money ploughed into the club. But ultimately, it'll be interesting to see what Newcastle's performances are going to be like over the next sort of 5-6 weeks.
I do feel like he was unfairly treated as well. I've got a very small sample size of Newcastle fans because I have 3 friends who are Newcastle fans, but they all went in so hard on Steve Bruce. And I said, partly to wind them up, but I was like, look, he got the same amount of points roughly as Rafa, kept you in the division, same as Rafa did. Why don't you like him? I get your problems with the owner. Mike Ashley is a scumbag. So fine, I get that was your problem. But Steve Bruce got offered the job and they all said, oh, but he was Sunderland manager. Then he took the Newcastle job. So he's a professional football manager. That's like saying like...
He's a Geordie as well.
And also he's a Geordie. And it's like, he is a Geordie, but he took the Sunderland job because he's a professional football manager, wanted another club and got offered loads of money. We'd all do the same thing. And that's part of his job. Like, it's not like defecting to the Germans in the Second World War. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not great, but it is forgivable. And I don't know, I just felt they treated him I felt like because the owner wasn't very present and wasn't very accessible, he was the lightning rod for a lot of criticism. And I did think that was really unfair. So there you go. That's Jerry. That's Jerry's final thought. Right, let's talk about another club in crisis, or a club in crisis. Manchester United. What is going on, Hannah?
What is going on, Hannah?
New job for Steve Bruce. He's available. So
well, he's going to retire. No, not Steve Bruce.
If you like him so much,
all your dreams.
In charge at Old Trafford.
Yeah, Hannah, he's your favourite person in the whole world. Get him in.
No, he's not my favourite person. I just feel that he needed to be defended a little bit. You know, to have an argument, it needs to be both-sided, and I just feel a little bit like, you know, it's very heavy on Newcastle. But yeah, Manchester United at the moment, we're in a bit of a, I'm not going to say a dire position, because look at our signings on paper. We've got a fantastic team, but, you know, we've just got gaps in our midfield. Our defence isn't great with sort of injuries, etc. But yeah, it's one of those things. There's no point in get Ollie out. I don't think United would sack him until towards the end of the season if results continue the way they are. They can't continue the way they are. Something needs to change. And what that may be is looking at a bit more structure, I think, for the team. And, you know, it's like Ronaldo is unbelievable, but if he's in his position where he needs to be, if we've got issues in our midfield and the ball's not being progressed to him, then we can't expect him to score goals. And I think we've got a few gaps that need to be worked on. And Ole says that himself. He identifies that. But it's just a little bit frustrating. I'm going to the Liverpool game on Sunday at Old Trafford, and I'm actually really nervous to watch United against Liverpool.
I think
I think you're going to get battered.
Yeah, I'm really concerned about that. But equally, you know, United can turn it around. You just don't know against a big team. So we tend to lose against the sort of lower teams. So I'm hoping we're going to have a stellar performance on Sunday. I don't think it's going to happen though.
Well, no, this is the thing. Mo Salah is playing the best football of anybody in the world at the moment, and the best football of his career. It's a very bad time to be playing Liverpool. That being said, it's a massive game and it's a huge derby for you guys as well. So it's obviously like that's a potential, I suppose, catalyst.
Well, I kind of just hope that we're going to start to get results. Whatever match it is, we need to, as a team, the improvement needs to be implemented sooner rather than later. The results haven't been going our way, and I really feel that the pressure's on, especially for Ole. Like we're everybody's got their own opinion, everyone's conversating about it. But Ole is he's aware of this situation, and his job's going to be in jeopardy if we don't turn this around. So
can I just ask you a direct question, Hannah?
Yeah.
And do you think that
as opposed to through me?
Mike, ask the question to Joe and then Joe can...
So Joe, can you ask Hannah if she thinks that United can win the league under Ollie? And if the answer to that question, which I assume any sane person would say no, then why persist with him?
So I think this
I wasn't
year,
listening. I was reading
this season. This season, more than ever, we've got some of the best teams in the Premier League we've had for years. So City, I'd say Chelsea up there as well. Not going to mention Spurs or Arsenal.
Wow,
but I don't think United are going to win the league under Ole. I just don't. I don't think that the team around him, I just don't feel that we've got the right balance within the team with Ole as manager. And that's no disrespect to Ole. I just don't feel that his credentials are big enough for the big names that we have in the club. But I'm desperate, as any other Man United fan is, to get some silverware. We need something. Like Ole needs something. And as a fan, paying for your season ticket, watching the matches week in, week out, you need to see some results from a team that is Manchester United.
But why is getting rid of him not the solution? We don't think he's done a bad job, but as we say, we think there's better out. I don't understand why getting rid of him wouldn't work.
What do you mean?
Like, so because you've been very much like, don't sack Ollie.
Well, that's because we've gone through so much. Well, we've not literally gone through. We've had so many managers over the last few years. You know, you think of David Moyes, Louis van Gaal. It's like you get these managers in for a sort of a short period of time. And you get that managers will come in and try and make a quick fix, a quick change and make signings and get rid of players. It's like you look at Johnny Evans, for example, at the weekend against Leicester. And it's like, why is Johnny Evans still not at Manchester United? Like, why did anybody ever let him go? You know, that was such a big mistake. And it's managers will come in and go, right, you know, I'm going to make my mark. I'm going to get rid of him, sign him in. Brilliant. It's a quick fix. But Manchester United of old are all about the up-and-coming talent through the academy and moulding players to play the Manchester United way. And I know people would think that's a cheesy thing to say, but that's what Manchester United are about. It's not about having 10 different managers and quick, who can we buy? We've got all this money, buy someone. It's about somebody that would fit into the club. And that's a mistake we've made in the past. I mean, I used to do the managers' press conferences with David Moyes, and it was like, there just wasn't really very much there. Like Sir Alex Ferguson would go into the press room and he would be talking to every journalist. He'd know them by name. And it's like they've got that relationship. And if anyone wrote anything negative about him, he would talk to them about it. But, you know, you get a different manager, they come in, make a change and leave. And it just kind of all breaks down. And then you're left in a situation where it's difficult to rebuild again.
Yeah, I can see that. And like teams assembled by several different managers are kind of never going to be coherent. Yeah. Speaking of incoherent teams, the Poddington P got you, Mike.
Almost.
He got you. Well, it's a good result for them, right? Away at the Emirates, a draw.
Yeah, I guess they probably deserved. They probably did deserve to win, and you know, bar a last-minute equaliser from Arsenal. I mean, look, Patrick Vieira. Seems like he's going to be a pretty good manager in time. I don't know if he's quite there yet, but he certainly showed Mikel Arteta that inexperience, while being an inexperienced manager, you could still do good things. Have you got the wrong former Arsenal midfielder in charge? I don't know. It's a tough question because you look at Arteta and you think, like, what discernible style was there after almost 2 years? And you look at Patrick and think, oh, actually, like Crystal Palace play quite like an attractive brand of football, and they're building like a younger squad, and there's like a few redeemable, qualities about them. And you look at Arsenal and think, oh, it's just like, you beat Spurs, right? That's great. And then like you draw at Brighton and then draw at Palace. It's like there's no consistency there. You can play great in one game and utter toilets in the next game. So it's just like no balance. And for me as well, like I'm in a similar boat to Hannah on Manchester United as well. I am with Mikel Arteta, because I feel like he's not going to take us back up to the top. So it's just like delaying the inevitable, almost getting rid of him. Is it going to happen now where they have time to get in like a new higher profile manager, which is obviously the dream scenario, probably not going to happen, or they're just going to wait till the end of the season? We'll probably finish like just outside the top 6. And it'll be another disappointment, no Europe again. And then you have to wait another year given the summer, and then the cycle just repeats. So it's an interesting thing. But I don't believe that he will, get Arsenal back competitive, like top 4 ready anytime soon.
And it's very difficult within your team as well if you don't have like a dominant player. So for United, I don't feel we've got anybody kind of with that grit and that dominance, like, for example, Roy Keane in the team, who will make you accountable for your performance on the pitch. And I know we've got Ronaldo and he wants to win himself, and we've got, bigger players in the team, but we don't have anybody that would make other people within that team accountable. And I think that's a huge issue if you don't have that player within your squad.
Yeah, you need a captain who kind of leads by example and, as you say, makes you accountable. Someone like Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, because it's probably worth talking about Tottenham. 4 points off top. 4 silly old points off the top of the table.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise we
do you not want to sack Nuno now? You've gone completely U-turned.
Nuno, stop quietly winning us the league, you silly old sod.
This guy's the biggest flip-flop going.
I don't know what. Sorry, just to clarify, do we like him this week? You like him this week? Oh, right, yeah.
Hannah, he's a cheeky so-and-so because he keeps you guessing, but we're just marching towards
you
the title.
really believe in him, don't you? It's nice how you've always had that faith, Joe.
Yeah.
I mean, what week are we in of the season now?
It's round 8, yeah. Round 8.
So 8 weeks in, and you've wanted to get rid of him a couple of times. But yeah, just to clarify, this week you're happy with him. You want to, in Nuno we trust, yeah?
In Nuno, hashtag in Nuno we trust.
Right.
And he sort of does look like a monk, doesn't he? If you walked into imagine, say you've been trekking across the Himalayas for weeks and you're sort of just about to run out of water. And then suddenly the sandstorm clears and there's a ancient Buddhist monastery in front of you and you walk through and the sort of old door creaks open and there's a dish of water in front of you. You look down and you sort of splash it on your face. And as you look up, wearing a hooded cowl with his beard poking out and his face half in shadow, there he is, Nuno. Ah, I see you've come far, traveller.
Did you write that out, or you've just literally said off the back of a dream?
That just came out of my brain, fully formed.
Okay,
sounds very Star Warsy, Joe. Is he
really
almost like a Sith Lord?
That was good. I felt I could really see it though.
Nuno giving you a bowl of water like you're an animal.
Well, no, it was more sort of mystical and magical.
Why is it not in a champagne flute?
Yeah. What do you think you are, bloody chihuahua? No, mate.
Where'd you get your NHS cup from? You've nicked it, haven't you? Put it back.
So look, Arsenal back to mediocrity, Spurs back to where they belong at the top of the table, Manchester United in free fall. I'd say that's a pretty good summary of the Premier League weekend. And Mike, we've got some listener questions, haven't we?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we got some really, really good questions actually.
Have we?
It's some really divisive questions.
Well, do you want to hit me?
Yeah. So Kieran Beef Wellington, as I call him, from Plymouth.
Asked me, Smelly Welly,
Big Welly. He asked me,
Big Welly.
He asked me, what is your favourite fan chant, and I'd like to do a rendition, if I may.
Were you going for it?
Yeah, I'm going for it. It goes, Tottenham get battered everywhere they go. Tottenham get battered everywhere they go. Everywhere they go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tottenham get battered everywhere they go. Tottenham get battered everywhere they go. Everywhere they go.
Yep.
You're welcome.
And that's the end of the podcast forever.
You enjoy that, Hannah?
Joining us, yeah.
Mike just killed the podcast. Right, okay, that's mediocre as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, fine.
It's a great chant.
There we go.
I sang that for the entirety of the North London Derby in my voice.
I could tell, mate, 'cause you were leaving me quite belligerent, drunken voice notes. Yeah, I don't know. What do I like? I quite like. There's other clubs ones that I like. Luis Garcia. He drinks sangria. He came from Barca to give us joy. He's 5'7". He's football heaven. Please don't take our Luis away. La, 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 la.
That's quite good, actually. I like that one.
I also used to like when Tottenham were in the Champions League and Arsenal weren't. We used to sing, "Oh, what a night, watching Tottenham on a Wednesday night. You play Thursday 'cause." That was it.
Yeah, but how many times did that happen?
Couple of years.
You probably got to sing that about once or twice.
What else did we do?
So
we used to have,
quite short-lived.
Oh, I'll tell you what we did used to have. This is my favourite, actually. Hey, we just signed him, and this is crazy, but off Modric. We've got Dembele.
Don't you find yourself though when you go to the pub before a game and you just walk in sober, have a drink, and then all it takes is 2 people to stand on a chair and start doing the football chants, and you're like, "Rah!" and you turn into like the ultimate football hooligan.
I've always loved a stupid chant as well. Like something that's really stupid and childish has always made me laugh. I think that's what you need, isn't it? Oh, there's so many like swimming through my brain right now. That's a good question from Welly Rowland.
Big Willie, thanks, Big Willie.
Good stuff. You got any others, Mike?
Yeah, I've got one from my mate Chris, who is from a place in Iran called Burak, and he asked me McDonald's or KFC.
Is he in Iran now?
I think so. Yeah.
Good question from how. You're right, Chris. How are things in Iran? Are you?
Well, hopefully he'll come back. Yeah, he asked me McDonald's or KFC, and this is a really difficult question because I think when I was growing up, like McDonald's was a very scarce commodity in my household because mum like labeled it as this really like awful, terrible thing, and like bad things are going to happen if you eat junk food. So on one hand, like I really love having a McDonald's, and it's almost like I'm breaking away from that even like years and years later. But I think KFC is the more elite fast food, if I'm completely honest. I know you love it, Joe, because like you just like eat the skin and not the chicken. But yeah, I just think elite fast food.
Do you reckon? Well, but I get that McDonald's kind of comes with that little. It feels transgressive. It's that little thrill for you because you can still imagine kind of Mama Stavrou coming in and like smacking your bottom with a broom.
Smacking me, yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, how dare you have a Happy Meal?
But she does what? But she doesn't mind KFC. She doesn't like a Happy Meal.
No, I think just because like McDonald's back in the day was like more of it was the thing, wasn't it, for kids? Whereas like more of them have come out since. But KFC wasn't as big like back in the 90s, I would say.
No, I'd agree with that. I don't actually like KFC because, like I say, I only like the skin. If they sold the skin separately, that'd be absolutely perfect. I don't know. I don't really eat McDonald's. Hannah, do you like junk? You don't like junk food. You're like a workout person.
Well, no, I'm vegan as well. So,
are you?
Yeah, I've been vegan for like 2 years, babe.
Kevin vegan.
But I did used to go to Mackey's at lunchtime because I've got a September birthday. So I was one of the first people to pass my driving test when I was like 17. And we'd cruise, put Justin Timberlake album on, CD player in my car. And I'd just cruise to Mackey's at lunchtime. However, I had a dual controlled car because that's all I could afford. So I bought it off a driving instructor, had like 500,000 miles on it. So I used to go with my friends and I'd be like, oh, I'm going to do this overtake. But my friends would think it's really funny to put the brake on. And I'd be like, why is it slowing down?
So dangerous.
I know. I was so
That's
crazy.
Insane.
Yeah. So
I didn't know they sold them to the public.
Well,
I didn't actually know what happened to them after they'd been used as instructors.
You just cut the so basically my dad just got a saw and like sawed out the pedals on the passenger seat.
This man's a policeman.
He was. I mean, he was, yeah. But that was the only way around it. But yeah, I used to go to Mackey's and I'd get some chips and that. Get a McFlurry and things.
One of the longest running soap operas, or certainly the most salacious soap operas in modern football, is that of Mauro Icardi, Maxi Lopez, and Wanda Nara. So, Mike, forgive me if I get this wrong, but basically, a few years ago, Maxi Lopez was playing at Sampdoria. Mauro Icardi, fellow Argentinian, moved to Sampdoria. The Lopez family were very kind to him and kind of took him in, and he became a very close friend of the family. Anyway, him and Maxi Lopez's wife, Wanda Nara, then ended up having an affair and running off together. So she left Maxi Lopez. On top of this, because Mauro Icardi, this is libelous, but I don't care, is quite an unpleasant bloke. So he used to like post videos of them together, and like there's like a hand symbol which means that your wife is cheating on you and stuff in Italy. He used to do that in videos, things. So basically this bloke who'd kind of shared his life and his wife with him, he kind of then was really like horrible to and rubbed it in his face. So then basically they wouldn't shake hands and stuff when Icardi moved to Inter, and then Lopez was still at Sampdoria. They wouldn't shake hands. It was this whole big drama in Italy. Anyway, Mauro Icardi is now at PSG. So his wife this week accused him of cheating with, is it a French prostitute, Mike? Or just a French girl? Or have I just slandered the people of France?
I'm gonna leave that one.
Yeah, they all are though, aren't they? You know what I mean? Fucking over there, eating their cheese, cycling around with a beret on and a big string of garlic round your neck. Who do you think you are? No wonder you needed our help in the war. I'm sorry, I'm joking. It's obviously all a stupid joke. That's obviously a joke. Sorry. Hannah's eyes were like... Oh, God. That's not very nice, is it, Mike?
No, he's not. No, you're right. I don't think he is a very nice person. But yeah, so she accused him of that. And then I think he was saying that I saw a story the other day saying that he was threatening to leave PSG if she didn't get back with him or something like that. Yeah. Something mental, but just another mad part of this crazy story. and it just seems to get like even madder every time the name Wandanara pops up.
Hannah, have you ever worked with anyone who, like, when they're having an affair, like, you know, when there's people in the office who are sleeping together and it's super awkward because everybody knows, but like the boss doesn't know? Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, but I feel like I can't say, but I walked in once on 2 previous Gladiators doing Rudy's.
Jet and Rhino.
I'm not telling you who it is, but I walked in.
Rhino and Hunter.
I went to get a cup of tea, and I walked in and they were just doing their thing.
What, in the kitchen?
Yeah.
Why use the kitchen? You want to get caught.
Wow.
I know, yeah. Why would you do that in the kitchen? Like, the work surfaces weren't really that clean.
Well, that's not, and also it's public. Yeah. Not worried about whether it's been Mr. Muscled or not.
Has that been anti-bac bed? So I won't put your bum on there. Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, wow. I imagine if it was in one of those balls that they roll around in.
Well, I think she was in them. Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I used to work, like, it was like a production company, and one of my colleagues told me once when we were in the voiceover booth that he'd had sex with his wife on the table where the microphone was. Oh. So it's like, oh, God. Yeah, that's what that is. Yeah, there's not enough bleach in the world. Also, one of my relatives was working at a company once, and she said that basically they were waiting for like a really big client to come in for a meeting, and afterwards she got called into the office and she was like, "Oh, what's going on?" It's like, "Oh, we've found something on the CCTV." So anyway, I'll say it. It was my auntie, and on the CCTV, right? So basically, this bloke and this woman who worked at this office were seen going into the disabled toilet together and came out like 15 minutes later. And on the other CCTV camera that was running simultaneously, my auntie was out the front sweeping up the cigarette butts, getting ready for the big client to arrive. And they'd like waited for her to leave the office to sweep up, and they went and bonked in the disabled loo. I thought, oh, that's absolutely adorable.
Oh, I bet your auntie was delighted.
Yeah, well, exactly. She was like, "Oh, I don't know what's happened. Did something happen in the meeting?" It's like, no. Was like, oh, so there you go. So, right, before we finish, I've got an Eric Dyer's vegetable patch. This week on Eric Dyer's vegetable patch, while things haven't been looking great for Steve Bruce recently, perhaps he'll be able to indulge his hobby of farming. Did you know he's a farmer, Hannah?
I didn't.
There you go. He said during lockdown, right, he got into farming because he lives on a farm. So he said,
"I've been busy on the tractor turning the land over, and I was busy for a few weeks doing up the house. I'd rather have been at the Newcastle training ground, but farming gives me an opportunity to do something different."
So there you go. Maybe we'll be able to get back to... No?
I can completely see that, though.
Yeah.
He's such a farmer.
I'd buy a radish off Steve Bruce.
I would. I'd get a courgette off him.
Brilliant. That's everyone had a stroke simultaneously. All right, I think on that disappointing note, that's a good place to leave it. Hannah, thank you very much.
Thanks. Hopefully next time we chat, United are going to beat Liverpool 4-2 on Sunday, and we're going to be like, what was any doubt in our mind about Ole?
Do you know what, Hannah? If Manchester United beat Liverpool on Sunday...
Don't say you're going to do the podcast naked, because that's too much for me.
Well, the requests are flying in. But I will do anything you want on the podcast if United beat Liverpool.
Okay, any score, as long as United win.
As long as United win.
Can I make you wear certain clothes or face paints, that sort of thing?
Yeah, don't make me dress up as a Nazi or something. But
something reasonable, yeah? Okay, yeah. Deal.
I would do that. Mike, thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.
And we will see you next time.
Bye.